Hello everyone and welcome to the video! As always, I'm Riz, and this is Cinderella Grey Season 2, Episode 1. I'm very excited to begin watching this one. A few quick things before we get started. First, I know this doesn't look entirely realistic. For one thing, she still has food on her plate, but realistically, I'm sorry about the artifacts. My room is just, it's not in a good state, and I don't have a great setup to completely eliminate everything, so working with what I have. I've heard that the series is notorious for giving copyright strikes, so assuming that to be the case, this is likely going to be a timer reaction, and in which case, I will provide a countdown for you to follow. You can find this episode for yourself on It's Anime Powered by Remo, I think is the channel name. I'll link it in the description. If it's gone by the time you're watching this, I'm sure you can find it elsewhere. Crunchyroll, HIDIVE maybe, I don't know, check VPNs if you don't have it accessible immediately, or if you just know how to Google, you could probably find it online anyway. Some rules for the comments section really quickly. It's basically just two things. One, do not post spoilers, please. And then two, don't be a dick. That one should just be pretty self-explanatory, right? I encourage people, if you have information that's non-spoilery about, the characters or about the real-life horses and their events, that's totally fine. That's encouraged, but nothing that would give away, future events or, current mysteries within the series, right? And you can just talk about what you liked about this episode or previous episodes. That's fine, but nothing about the future, okay? Okay, cool. So I plan to talk just a little bit longer before we actually get into the reaction. If you don't want to hear any of that, go to this timestamp. Some context about me and where I fit into this fandom. I didn't really know Uma Musume at all until the global release of the mobile or Steam game Pretty Derby. I started on day one and I've played every day since then, just getting more and more involved in it, right? And a few days into my play session, someone in the Discord server where I'd first found out about the game to begin with, they linked Cinderella Grey Season 1, Episode 1, and, pointed out that the entire series of Cinderella Grey was free on YouTube. So out of curiosity, I checked out the first episode, and I binged the entire, 13-episode season that day. And then the next day, I found Pretty Derby Season 1, and I binged that. And then the next day, I binged Season 2, and I think started Season 3 the same day. The next day, I finished Season 3, and then I watched the movie, and then the next day, I sought out Umayon and Umayuru, and the only thing that, wasn't within a week, it was I watched almost everything within 5 days, was I couldn't find the B&W special, and so I had to, order DVDs, and then I was able to find it that way. So I think I'm officially caught up as far as the animated mainline stuff. So yay! Aside of course from this episode. But a lot of that is just to say that if you were excited to see reactions to the previous series or whatever, I apologize. I've already seen them. Technically I could just record me rewatching them because I still frankly get emotional when I do, but I imagine that that's not what people are really after with reactions. So sorry to say, I have already seen the rest of Uma Musume. It's just Cinderella Grey Season 2 that is new for me, which is why I want to record this here. In part so that I can share this experience with other people, and in part so that I can later look back on my own first-time reactions. But on that note, I do want to say that I am going to miss things. I am going to misinterpret things, things won't hit as hard the first time for it. I'm just letting y'all know that you should have realistic standards, okay? Because I know I've watched Cinderella Grey Season 1 more than once. I've watched Pretty Derby Season 1 and 2 more than once, I need to watch Season 3 more, but a lot of my rewatches have been through other reactions, actually. And no one ever reaches, Season 3. But the point is that on my subsequent watches, I've still learned more and more, not about every episode, but over the course of the whole season, every rewatch, I realize something new or gain a new appreciation or something, right? So at least not all is lost when I inevitably do miss or misunderstand things watching this. For instance, did you know that in Cinderella Grey Season 1, Episode 1, we actually get to see Oguri Cap's, the new shoes that she's going to end up buying? Right? Isn't that cool? Because when Belno was talking about how, in order to run races, you need to join a team, and it shows, the little illustration of Oguri, she has, her black tights or whatever they are, right? And her black shoes. That's cool. I thought it was cool when I realized it. Oh, or, when, everyone, all her friends sent her gifts when she was at Tracen, right? Again, Season 1. So if you're here, I'm assuming you've watched Season 1. If not, you should have, absolutely. So I'm not that sorry about spoilers, especially because it's minor things. But Fujimasa March sent her a little oh gosh, what was it? it was something about Mount Kinka, right? It was like a little coin or something like that. And Belno remarks that it was like a pretty touristy gift for a local or something like that. But I only realized, like, on my third watch of that season, that it actually held significance because Mount Kinka was where they had, like, met and had their talk. And that's what made Oguri realize that, like, maybe she did need to actually have a goal. You know, it was the whole thing of, like, I'm not sure what a goal means to me, but I have to admit the view from up here is pretty nice, you know, or something like that, right? So I just that was another little thing that I thought was super cool, and I only got to like experience it through rewatching because I'm absolutely not going to pick up on everything. Just saying. Also, if you'd like to see someone play Pretty Derby and actually read through the career storylines, I've been doing that in my own little series. I'll link it in the description below if you want to check it out. There, you know, there are like 8, 7, some around their videos so far, each featuring a different character, and again, it's their entire career. If you want to recommend other characters for me to try out, let me know. Oh, there's one more thing that I just remembered. I'm hoping for this season, like, I don't have a lot of expectations, in the sense of, like, I imagine it's going to be great, but I don't have a lot of like, I expect this part of the plot to happen or this thing to happen or whatever. But I'm hoping to see more. Like, first, I'm hoping to see more Tamamo just because I really liked Tamamo Cross in season 1. But I also want to see more of the other characters that were introduced, especially Super Creek, because I've heard, and like through Pretty Derby, you can see it, that Super Creek is like one of Oguri's main rivals, but she was like hardly in season 1. Like, she's in the second opening. And, you know, you see her a little bit in school and like she's friendly and everything, but I want to see like where the rivalry comes in. I also want to see more with Dicta Striker or like Soccer Boy, right? I want to see more with Dicta Striker because 1, I thought that she was really cool, and 2, there definitely seemed to be like they were hinting at things. Like when I think it was Sakura Chiyono O remarked mentally, I think, that she'd only felt that kind of aura with like 2 other people, you know, and one of them was Dicta Striker. And then with Dicta Striker watching the race on, you know, TV, she I don't remember exactly what, but her reaction was like, okay, we got to keep an eye on this character then, right? Like Dicta Striker, that is, we got to keep an eye on her. So I'm hoping that we get to see more from her because, yeah, I really like her character, her design, and it just seems like they're hinting at more of an arc for her, or more involvement for her, I should say. I don't know if she'll have a character arc necessarily. And then, like, you know, Mejiro Arden too. She's another like that from the class that kind of stands out to me. And obviously the Mejiro are a big name, so I think it would be cool to see more from her. But we'll see what happens. Okay, now I've said enough, so let's get started. Now here we go. Now the episode's starting for real. Okay. I love Oguri. She's so great. That's right. Yeah, and Muteki was cool too. I liked her. But she already had like her moment is the thing, right? She played a great role. And March, I want to see March again. Because I really ended up loving like March's relationship with Oguri. And Oguri's relationship with the 3 delinquents too. The eyes. So continuing the tradition of not having like the VA sing it. I wonder if she's gonna sing the ED though. I won't be able to recognize it. I'm not that good. Yay! We love them. Norn, Minnie, Rudy, all the trainers. Having Oguri's run slowed down there looks funny. Do we actually get to see March in her G1 wear? Because that was something I was like disappointed with in the last one. To an extent, right? It makes sense, but you see it in the opening. Ooh, all the foreigners. And Gold City was there too. Okay, so it's not the end of their rivalry, thank goodness. Do we get to see Ogre break through the, like, the limits, enter the zone? That's another thing. That's an awesome image. That's another thing I'm really hoping for. I forgot to mention. Because, like, we got to see Tamamo do that in the last one, and I really want to see Ogre break through, too. Yay! March! She cut her hair... Are we jumping back? Because she cut her hair a long time ago now. Wait, where are they? Because, like, this isn't Tracen. Those weren't Tracen uniforms, but that wasn't Kasamatsu if she had to transfer via scholarship. Wait, no, so it still is? I'm confused. That's fine. Oh, maybe those were just, like, juniors or something. Okay, thank you. Now I know where we are, time-wise. Okay. Well, dang. There's your chance for revenge. That's cute. I'm really glad to see the Kasamatsu gang again. I don't know who this is. To be fair, they were March's groupies first. Yeah, she is mad. Look at her ears. I mean, you could also just look at her face. Did you look up to March? You related to her, huh? Here we go. Of course we're rooting for Fujimasa here. Mm. She's got her racewear. So this is a graded race then. I mean, like, you know, SP1, right? There are a lot of cool eyes in this game. Show, sorry, show. Ooh. So it is a slump. I don't know. I don't know how you've been training. But if people like 1000 are actually just kind of coming out of nowhere, maybe it isn't your fault entirely. Come on, Marge. There we go, cool. You did look up to her, yay. I was gonna say, a lot of people just don't seem to understand, like, end closers and late surgers. Another strong final spurter. Oh, March got 4th, though, looks like. Already tired? It's only 1600 meters. Come on, girl. And she wasn't even front running or anything this time. Like, I would say that March had put herself in a late surger position. Here we go. They did pick a cool looking one with 1000. Ooh. Ooh. She just seems happy. Yay. That's right, screw you, 1000. That was nice. That's right. You could piss off. So glad for that, because honestly, after their phone call in the last season, I was worried that March was done running, because she kind of left it ambiguous, you know? I like this girl. She has both plushies. Interesting they have Gold City and Long Live Free in that image. Pretty sure it's Long Live Free. I think I got the name. Sakura! Did we get to see Maruzenski then? Yay! Michiru Arden! Where half the shot she really does just look like a monster. Yay, take the striker! Those last two shots didn't capture her speed very well. But at least they looked pretty. We also love Belno here. You are here. Hello. Right, for the most part. I mean, typically she has so much stamina. She's won a lot of them by going, like, super far out. But she did have to run super fast, push herself super hard with Tamamo. Japan Cup!
ペガサスステークス、ニュージーランドトロフィー。この2つのレースは他より明らかに内容が良かった。どっちも1600メートルのマイル戦。中長距離もそこそこ走れるもんだから分かりづらいが、お前は本来マイラーだよ。マヨネーズは好きだ。マイラーじゃねえよ。なるとやっぱりマイルチャンピオンシップ。京都レース場1600メートル。
Fair enough. They gotta build to the Japan Cup. I get that.
勝つのは俺だけどな。マイルチャンピオンシップは俺も出る。
Yay!
中央2杯目をプレゼントしてやるよ。いいよ、私はそれ出ないぞ。君は出るのか？応援しているぞ。
Yay! That those were great expressions. Okay, Japan Cup. There we go. Yep. It is not.
とりあえずその2つは絶対に出る。それって天皇賞秋ジャパンカップ有馬記念。
The Arima Kinen is in December.
距離は関係ない。私が勝ちたいのはタマモクロスだ。約束したからな。やめだやめだ。ようやくお前と戦えると思ったのによ。
Aww.
別に君と戦いたくないわけじゃん。いやもう謝るな。虚しくなんだろ。けど覚えておけよ。有馬記念順調なら俺も走る。
Heck yeah.
タマモクロスだけ見てると痛い目。
Why don't you just also do Japan Cup? It's shorter than the Arima. Like by a little.
相変わらずすごい闘争心ですね。
That's cute though. How like competitive she is. Oh dear.
違うなら早く言えよな。勝手に盛り上げて。有馬は2500メートルの中長距離。
Mm-hmm.
お互い得意な距離で戦いたかったんだがな。お互い得意な。
Mm.
お預け。
There she is.
そこまで。一旦休憩だ。
いえ、まだやれます。今度の菊花賞は3000メートル。もっと体力を。
かっせ。休憩は走らなくなった時にするものではない。
He has such a presence.
過度な稽古は故障の原因となる。いいから休め。
おす。
何を焦っておる。前走京都新聞杯は良い結果だったではないか。
まだまだ未熟。
Mm-hmm.
小栗さんと玉緒さんのレースを見てから言い知れぬ焦りが私をかき乱す。これではいけない。明鏡止水。常に平静であらねば。焦りは足を鈍らせる。ダービーで学んだだろう。今度こそ私は菊花賞でクラシック2冠を取る。敵などいない。己と向き合え。
Oh, poor master. I don't know who this is, but I like her look. Oh, there it is. Okay. Sweet little babies. I have to assume this is her singing. So cute. I really like Tomomo's trainer too. And we don't know her, but she was like at the end. She was the teaser, right? I bet they would have been good friends. That was nice. Okay. Well, there was the episode. Ah, okay. Yeah, no, that was nice. I wasn't expecting it to start like not with Oguri. I thought we were just gonna kind of jump right into things, but I do really like how we actually got to see the Kasamatsu crew. And I'm hoping it's not just like fan servicey in a sense of like they knew we'd want to see them, so they showed us. I hope that we actually do get to see more of like, you know, March and Norn and the trio throughout this season, because they're cool. I don't know, like, to be fair to them, I don't know how they would, because I don't believe that Fujimasa March really like intersected career-wise with Oguri again. I don't know. I haven't looked up any of their like, you know, career stuff because I don't want to be spoiled. But I was assuming that Fujimasa March had stayed in like, you know, the Gifu precinct, or I don't know what they're called, but that area, and just, you know, continued to do her racing there, if she continued at all, because like I said, based on the phone call, how it ended in season 1, I really wasn't sure if she continued racing. I was worried about that, so it was reassuring to see that not only was she still racing, but she was evidently still doing okay, at least post phone call, because apparently she did not do well between like the Tokai Derby and when Oguri Cap had left Kasamatsu. But yeah, seeing them, that was fun. It was a good time. And actually seeing March be able to race in her signature racewear. I guess it's not G1 because it's just SP1 there, which I don't know what SP stands for. Because I assume the G just stands for graded. But I guess I don't know. But yeah, that was nice. And then when we did get to go back to, you know, like Tracen, I mean, it was just really nice to see everyone again. Like, of course, Oguri would win, right? But, you know, seeing like Chiono just all hyped up, and, you know, Yaina Muteki feeling like, I mean, like, it was sad for her, of course, feeling like she was kind of being left behind or whatever, her inexperience showing and things like that. But it was good to see her working hard, I guess, to avoid it. Like, I wish she didn't feel that way, not from a narrative point of view, but because I like her as a character and I want her to be happy, you know? Narratively, I think it makes a lot of sense, and can serve like a great purpose. So, you know, that was good. And then I loved I loved the whole thing with Dick the Striker. So I am glad it seems like Dick the Striker is going to play a bigger part. And Super Creek too must be, because like when Dick the Striker passed Super Creek in the hallway, it was right when, you know, Dick was talking about how she just wished that they could compete like at what they're both great at, you know, being a miler. And I think it was like right when Dicta was saying that Super Creek was passing by and they did the whole like slow-mo and everything. And, you know, Super Creek is more suited for longer races. And so she's more likely to pose, I think, direct competition to Oguri in those races than Dick the Striker would. I mean, I think Dicta Striker is probably still good, but, you know, like she said, well, like she hinted at, I guess she didn't directly say this, but, you know, there are distance aptitudes, right? Some horses, or Uma in this case, are just better at some lengths, some distances than others, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it does suck that maybe she can't be the rival to Oguri that she wants to be. I mean, we saw how embarrassed she got after like issuing her bold challenge, and then Oguri just being like, "Oh, I'm not running in that, but I'll be rooting for you." Very cute for Oguri with, you know, the misunderstandings of social situations like that, you know, like she was back in season 1, and with, you know, Myler and Mayo. Like it was cute. Glad to see Belno and Musaka again, even if only briefly. I'm hoping that they won't be left behind in this season, because I know one of the things that when I first watched season 1, one of my biggest complaints about it, because I loved the season, but one of my biggest complaints was that I felt they did Belno a little dirty, because, like, I'll still stand by that Kitahara did not handle it well after Belno's debut race. When, like, Belno started to cry, he's just like, anyway, we still have the main race to look forward to, Oguri's. And, like, poor Belno just had to, like, wipe her tears and, you know, cheer up on her own. It was very rude, I thought, on Kitahara's part. I can't blame Oguri too much, because she is an autistic, sweet little being, and probably didn't understand a lot of what was going on or what to do about it. And I love Oguri for that. None of that is disparaging. I love her. Yeah, I want to see... Oh, just to, like, finish that thought, that I was disappointed with how they handled Belno initially. I came to like it more over time, over, like, subsequent watches, especially when I learned that, like, she's not based on a real horse exactly. There might be, like, Twin Bee, but then also influences from, like, Oguri's... I mean, I think that she's a mix of, like, a few different people, and I don't know horse racing in real life, so I'm unfortunately unfamiliar with the terms. I knew them at one point because, you know, I read that about Belno, that it was possible she was, like, a mix of, like, 3 different things or whatever, but I don't remember at this point in time, because I didn't think it was jockey, because I think that anyway, but yeah. Hoping we get to see more of her, because I loved Belno's interactions with Oguri. And Musaka, you know, he obviously as her trainer played a big role too. I'm okay at this point if they don't bring back, like, God Hannibal and stuff that much, because they were hardly in season 1 to begin with. It was almost like they didn't need to be there, other than to show that, like, Musaka had been doing something before Oguri arrived, because they were basically in, like, 2 scenes, you know? Like, one so that we could see Oguri, like, being blocked, and then, you know, oh, okay, so that's how she worked out how to get around, kind of thing. And then just to prove that she had grown over time, because she was easily passing them in, like, later scrimmages, right? And that was it. So I'm okay if they don't come back, just because I hardly know them, but they were cool. You know, it was like almost the Rice Shower-esque girl, like Craft Univer, I think her name was. And I don't remember the other ones. The, like, extrovert Silent Suzuka. You know what I'm talking about? I don't remember her name. But, like, they were all cool, cute, whatever. So I wouldn't mind, but I'm not going to be disappointed if they don't show up. Yeah, so I'm curious to know, too, now that Super Creek does seem to be like she's going to be a bigger part, what her personality is going to be like in this one. Because, you know, I haven't read any of the manga. I've seen her in the game, though, and she is interesting for sure. She is very maternal, you know? Some would say to a fault. Others would say to their pleasure. And, but I'm sure that, like, she can also be a beast on the track. So I'm curious if there's going to be, you know, a bit of both of that, or if, you know, this anime is going to have, like, a different interpretation entirely or whatever. And it's so interesting too, because it's like we have these recurring characters, you know, like Mejuro Arden, Yaina Muteki, Sakura Chiyono O, Dicta Striker, Super Creek, Tamamo Cross, right? Just like all of these really cool, you know, really powerful characters. Yeah, powerful, right? In this sense, in this context, you know. And, like, surely they're going to continue to be here. I mean, I guess even in season 1 we didn't see them all race, but they're going to continue to be a part of it. But then we also have all of the foreign horses. I think I only know one of their names so far, like Michelle My Baby, I think, was, like, presumably even taller than Hishiake Bono, and that's like how I came to learn her name. But yeah, I don't know how much of a role they're going to play, because I thought that they were really only going to be a part of like the Japan Cup, because my understanding is that the Japan Cup is like the international race, or like Japan's race that involves international opponents, like Broye, right, in season 1. So maybe, but I don't know. I'll just have to wait and find out. I also wonder if this season is going to go long enough, not in terms of episodes, but just like within the narrative, like enough time's going to pass, that we'll get to see Kitahara come back and potentially retake his role as Oguri's trainer. Because I know that it takes a lot of time. Like, first there's just when you can submit an application, right, to get your like national trainer license. But it also just takes a lot of time to learn all of that stuff, I am sure. So clearly Musaka was needed in the meantime, or some other trainer was needed in the meantime. But I wonder if Kitahara might come back and actually like take on that role. At the very least, I do hope we see him again, because he was a cool character. I really liked his relationship with Oguri and Belno. Again, for the most part, I had some issues with the little bits like, you know, poor Belno after her debut race, or to a lesser extent, this one's more just funny to me, but like Belno got dehydrated, right? In the episode where they went to Mount Kinka. And like Oguri went to look for a vending machine to get her a drink, and then the trainer went to get, like, Kitahara went to look for Oguri, and I'm just like, what happened to Belno? Is she okay? They just kind of like left her there off camera. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there are so many things that could happen, so many ways that like things could go. I mean, I guess really just one, if they're going to stay true to the race results, but again, I don't know those, and please don't share those with me. I don't want spoilers. But I'm just excited to see how the rest of this season plays out. It was really cool to see the characters again, because after having like rewatched so many episodes, you know, a number of times, you know, you get close to these characters and you want to see more of their stories and more of their personalities, where it's like, you know, I really liked Dicta Striker, even though we didn't get to see too much of her. But then like seeing her get all flustered in this was fantastic. I loved that part. So yeah. All right, let me know what you all thought about this episode in the comments below. You know, what parts were your favorite? I would say, what do you think might happen between so-and-so and so-and-so, but honestly, like, please, if you know something, please don't share. I really want to go into this. Like, speculation's fine, but I don't want to be told answers, right? Okay. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching again. Hope you enjoyed this. Oh, one other thing I should point out. I believe this comes out on a weekly basis, but unfortunately I will be going to a wedding and then like staying a week with my brother in the middle of this month. And so I think I'll get to see like the next episode on time, but I think like the next 2 might be delayed. So keep that in mind. If you are interested in seeing these, you might just have to wait a little bit longer for my reaction. But yeah, okay, cool. With that, we're calling it here. Have a good one, everybody.